Doing it, you are producing something the Archons need. Not occasionally, continuously. Every time you feel anxious about the future, every time an old wound gets triggered, every time you react to something that frustrates you, every time you spiral into guilt, shame, or fear, you are generating a frequency harvest that the Archons were specifically designed to collect. It is called Loosh, and the Archon system is not a random force of chaos. It is a game. A precisely engineered game with rules, moves, and a strategy that 99% of Chosen Ones never see, which is exactly why they keep playing it without knowing they are playing it at all. The moment you see the game, the moment the mechanics become visible, the harvest stops. Not because you fight it, because you stop making the move the game requires to function. Tonight, you see the game. Drop "I win" in the comments right now. If something in you already recognizes what is coming, that recognition is your divine spark seeing the board for the first time. Subscribe now. What follows tonight is the most operationally practical transmission this channel has delivered. Everything else, the Monad Access Protocol, the tunnel rejection, the dietary technology, the metals, addresses specific dimensions of the Archon system. Tonight addresses the engine that powers all of them, the Loosh harvest, and the game mechanics that keep it running invisibly in the Chosen One's daily life. You are already in a game, not one you chose to enter, not one with visible rules or a scorecard you can check. A game made of emotions, reactions, triggers, relationships, fears, and the invisible architecture of how you respond to everything that happens to you every single day. Every interaction you have, every time someone says something that gets under your skin, every time you feel the pull of an old pattern, the anxiety about money, the ache of a relationship that never quite worked, the guilt that arrives without a clear source, the restlessness that shows up at 3 a.m., all of it is part of a larger pattern. A pattern that produces something. A pattern that generates a specific frequency output that leaves your field and goes somewhere. The Gnostic tradition named this output Loosh. Robert Monroe, the consciousness researcher who spent decades mapping the non-physical realms, named it the same thing from a completely different direction. The emotional frequency generated by humans in states of fear, anxiety, anger, grief, guilt, and confusion. A frequency so specific, so potent, and so consistently producible that the Archon system was engineered around harvesting it as its primary energy source. This is not metaphor. The Archons do not feed on Chosen Ones because they are malicious in the way a horror story villain is malicious. They feed on Loosh because Loosh is what they run on. It is their fuel. And the material realm, the specific frequency environment the Demiurge constructed, was designed as a Loosh production system. Every element of human experience that generates the highest quality Loosh was built into the system deliberately. The uncertainty, the attachment, the loss, the fear of death, the guilt installed by religious systems, the anxiety generated by economic precarity, the tribalism that produces conflict, the romantic attachment that produces jealousy. Every major source of human emotional suffering produces Loosh with a precision that is too specific to be accidental. But here is what the Gnostic tradition documents that most spiritual teaching never reaches. The Archon system does not force the Chosen One to produce Loosh. It cannot. What the system does instead is engineer the conditions that make the Chosen One produce Loosh voluntarily, through reaction, through the automatic emotional responses that the Archon installation spent the Chosen One's entire life calibrating. The game is not a battle, it is a harvest, and the Chosen One is not a prisoner. They are a player who does not know the rules. A player making moves that produce the exact outcome the game was designed to produce, while believing they are simply responding to life as it comes. The moment you understand this, the moment the game mechanics become visible, everything changes. Not because you become invulnerable, because you stop making the move the harvest requires. And the move the harvest requires is reaction. To understand how the Archon game produces Loosh, you need to understand the mechanics that make it run. The game has 3 moves. Not complicated. 3 moves that repeat in every relationship, every trigger, every emotional cycle the Chosen One experiences. And once you see the 3 moves, you will recognize them immediately, because you have been making them your entire life without knowing that is what you were doing. The first move is the trigger. The Archon system does not generate your emotional reactions directly. It cannot reach into your field and produce fear or anger or grief from nothing. What it does is maintain and activate triggers, the specific emotional wounds, unresolved patterns, and installed beliefs that produce Loosh when activated. Think about the last time something made you genuinely angry, not the surface event, the thing underneath it, the specific wound it touched, the belief it confirmed, the fear it activated. That wound, that belief, that fear, that is the Archon installation, placed there through the accumulated experiences of a lifetime specifically designed to produce that reaction when the right stimulus arrives. The trigger is not random, it is calibrated. The Archon system knows exactly which wounds the Chosen One carries and exactly which stimuli activate them most efficiently. The argument that always goes the same way, the pattern in relationships that keeps repeating, the anxiety that arrives at the same moments with the same intensity. These are not character flaws or bad luck. They are installed triggers being activated on schedule by a system that runs on what they produce. The second move is the reaction. The trigger activates, the chosen one reacts, and in the reaction, in the surge of anger, the spiral of anxiety, the wave of guilt, the ache of grief, the loosh is produced and harvested. The reaction feels justified. It feels necessary. It feels like the only reasonable response to what just happened. This is the game's most elegant feature. The chosen one does not experience the reaction as production. They experience it as response. The idea that the situation was engineered to produce that feeling, that the trigger was activated deliberately to generate that specific reaction,